place. It's called the Breakaway Cafe, and the dimensions are very important to us because it's actually the size of the very first food bank started by John Van Hengel in 1967. He got a grant, a $3,000 grant from St. Mary's Church. That's why we're called St. Mary's Food Bank. We're not we're a non-sectarian organization. We're not a Catholic organization, but we named the food bank in honor of St. Mary's because they gave us our start. They gave us some money, and they gave us a building to start our very first building.
How big was the first food bank?
That size, exactly those dimensions.
And
so that was the size of the very first bank. It grew to a bakery, and now you're standing in a 127,000 square foot warehouse, and it's one of 4 facilities that we have.
So you said John Van Hengel was the one that started food. What made him think to start a food bank?
John was volunteering for St. Vincent de Paul.
Yep.
He was working in their soup kitchens. Came across a lady one night he was helping to serve, and he knew that that lady only came once or twice a week. And she said, he asked her, he was curious, he said, how do you feed your family the other nights of the week? And she goes, I go into the dumpsters back behind grocery stores. They throw out a lot of cans, they throw out a lot of stuff. The expiration date is past, but they're good for my family, and I can feed my family on that.
Right.
John got an idea, went into some of the groceries and said, would you be willing to give that food to me?
Right.
As opposed to throwing it out. They thought it was a great idea. He started with that. This morning, when these trucks move out, we're going to hit 250 grocery stores in the Phoenix area every day. We get meat, produce, dented stuff, out of date, expiration, bakery goods, pastries, everything you can think of. Country.
Any food bank in the country.
Absolutely. LA, New York, Chicago, anywhere. Phoenix is #1 at 72 million pounds annually.
Have you seen with this recent recession that that number has
Absolutely.
dramatically?
2 years ago, we were distributing 43.4. So it took us 40 years to build up to 40 million, and 2 years to go from 40 to 70. Because we had to.
Yeah.
There's just no other way around it. Because there's 10% unemployment in Phoenix, 10% underemployment in Phoenix, which means people just working less hours than they were before. And you put that together with 1 in 4 kids in Arizona going to bed hungry every night, and it's just a huge problem. And we're in 10 of the 15 counties in Arizona, so we're covering almost the entire map of the state, which is a pretty big state.
Yeah.
So it's a huge task, and it's something that we have to do daily. If the economy is coming back, it certainly hasn't reached the people that we help.
Right.
There's a trickle-down effect, and it's going to take quite a long time for the folks who lost their jobs to get their jobs back, for the folks that got cut from 40 to 20 hours to come back to 40 hours, for the people who left their $80,000 a year job and got a $40,000 a year job. It's going to take an awful long time for the people that we help for that trickle-down effect to get to the fact where it's really helping those people. So I would say it's going to take, from the time the economy improves, it'll take a year or 2 before it actually reaches the folks we want.
What is the reaction? Because this is the first time for a lot of people that probably never thought that they would use a food bank.
There's an embarrassment factor. There's folks who come in here and they don't know what to do. They never thought they would be in this position. They used to donate to the food bank, so they know where we are because they used to bring food and funds to help us out.
Right.
Now they're in a position where they actually need that help. They don't know what to do. They're not quite sure where to turn. They'll park off to the side. They'll knock on the side window. You know, they're not really. They don't really want to come through that front door. They pull up in a nice car, and you say, "Wow, that's a nice car," and then you realize that they're living in that car.
Now I know you say bridging the gap. Is there any way to measure exactly how many people, or an idea of how many people that have come to you guys for service and then maybe have gotten off of those services and gotten themselves back on the food?
We don't see people on a continuous basis a lot.
Okay.
We are a hand-up organization. We know when people are hurting. We try to give them the help when they're hurting. And we see people come back. People come back, and they come back with a check in their hand, or they come back with a box of food in their hand, and they say, hey, last year I really needed you guys. 6 months ago I was really down. I needed some help. You guys were here to help me. You got my family through. I was able to paint my own. This is our private $7 million kitchen. This area that you just saw behind you is both a classroom and what we call the bistro. We have between 20 and 30 people. Some of them have gone to prison, some of them are drug rehab, some of them have been victims of domestic abuse. What we do is we put them through a 16-week program. We teach them knife skills, we teach them safety skills, we make them ready to get a job in the service industry, the restaurant. At the same time, we teach them people skills. If they've had anger issues, if they've had drug issues, if they had domestic issues when we're talking about having to deal with that, and how even if they get a job, they're still going to have to deal with that stuff. Right. To make sure that they're productive members of society.
Mary's Food Bank, our final stop on our Ford Focus Global Test Drive, and the folks at Ford have come together and actually made a $10,000 contribution to St. Mary's Food Bank, which is just incredible. What will this money do?
And this is going to be great. We can with every dollar we can distribute enough food to provide about 7 meals into the valley. So if you take 10,000 times it by 7, we're talking about 70,000 meals.
That is huge.
So we thank you for the exposure that we got today on television to let people know what you're doing out there. We thank the Move for Hunger folks. We thank Desert Sun Moving, who's doing a lot of work for us in the valley, who's already had some food drives for us and is a big part of the Move for Hunger drive. And we wish you nothing but success as we move on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.